A revolution is underway in parts of the region, a Jesus revolution. An unprecedented number of Muslims are forsaking Islam and choosing to follow Christ, especially in Iran.
What if a nation deeply rooted in centuries-old traditions suddenly began transforming in ways no one could have anticipated? Imagine this: churches filling up with worshippers while attendance at mosques steadily declines. It's happening right now in the Islamic Republic of Iran, a dramatic shift that's leaving the world asking, what's really going on? The answer is astonishing, and you'll want to stick around for the full story. Over 1 million Muslims in Iran have made the surprising decision to embrace Christianity. But this unprecedented wave of conversions mark the beginning of a profound shift away from radical Islam. Let's dive in. When you think of Iran, Christianity isn't the first religion that comes to mind. As the world's largest Shiite Muslim state, Iran is known for its deep Islamic roots and its rigid enforcement of religious laws. But beneath the surface, an extraordinary transformation is quietly reshaping the nation. An unexpected surge in conversions from Islam to Christianity is not only altering the country's spiritual identity, but also challenging the foundations of its theocratic regime. Built on the principles of Shiite Islam, the Islamic Republic has, for decades, strictly controlled religious expression, often punishing dissent harshly. Take, for example, the infamous morality police. Their rigid enforcement of Islamic laws has drawn global condemnation, particularly after allegations of a woman being shot for not adhering to mandatory hijab rules. These incidents reveal the oppressive measures used to maintain religious conformity. Yet, signs of discontent are everywhere. Reports indicate that 50,000 of Iran's 75,000 mosques have closed due to dwindling attendance. Senior clerics themselves acknowledge this crisis of faith. In the midst of this, over 1 million Iranians are embracing Christianity, signaling a powerful undercurrent of religious change that is steadily gaining momentum. This movement is not just a shift in faith, it's a cultural and ideological transformation challenging the core of Iran's identity. The term Jesus revolution has emerged to describe a remarkable phenomenon sweeping through Iran: a growing wave of conversions to Christianity. According to a joint study by CBN and the international radio ministry The Tide, an estimated 1 million Muslims in Iran have embraced Christ. This isn't just a curious statistic, it represents a profound cultural and spiritual transformation. At its core, this movement is deeply connected to Iran's ongoing political, social, and economic crises. For many, Christianity stands as a stark alternative to the authoritarian and punitive nature of the Islamic regime. It offers a message of hope, love, forgiveness, and personal connection to God, principles that resonate powerfully with those disillusioned by decades of oppression. Todd Nettleton of the Voice of the Martyrs points out that Iran faces staggering challenges: some of the highest drug addiction rates in the world, rampant corruption, and widespread poverty affecting over half the population. For many Iranians, these systemic failures have eroded the appeal of Islam as enforced by the regime. Economic struggles have played a key role in this growing dissatisfaction. International sanctions, government mismanagement, and corruption have left Iran's economy in shambles, pushing millions into poverty. As a result, many have begun questioning the promises of the Islamic theocracy, seeking meaning and hope elsewhere. A survey by the Netherlands-based Ghan Institute reveals that 80% of Iranians desire a democratic government, rejecting the Islamic Republic in its current form. This widespread disillusionment with political Islam has created fertile ground for exploring alternative spiritual paths. For many, Christianity is not just a religion, it is a beacon of liberation, both spiritually and socially. The promise of freedom, equality, and human rights, often associated with Christian-majority nations, resonates deeply with Iranians longing for change. This growing interest in Christianity aligns with broader calls for reform, making religion a powerful rallying point for resistance against the regime. Unsurprisingly, Iran's Islamic leadership has responded harshly to this rise in Christianity, viewing it as a direct challenge to the foundations of the theocratic state. Yet, despite the risks, the movement continues to grow, signaling a profound shift in the nation's spiritual and cultural identity. Converting from Islam is strictly forbidden in Iran, with apostates often facing severe punishments, including imprisonment and, in some cases, death. The government's relentless efforts to suppress Christianity are part of a broader strategy to maintain control over the population. Yet, despite the risks, underground churches and digital platforms have emerged as vital hubs for Christian worship and education, allowing the movement to quietly flourish. Todd Nettleton emphasizes that this growth isn't solely rooted in dissatisfaction with Islam. It also reflects the unique appeal of Christianity. Many converts are drawn to its core teachings of compassion and forgiveness, which stand in stark contrast to the rigid and punitive environment they've known. The promise of a personal relationship with God resonates deeply, offering hope and a sense of agency that was absent in their previous religious experience. In a society weighed down by systemic injustice and oppressive leadership, the teachings of Jesus offer a message of solace and liberation. Words from Matthew 11:28-30 seem to echo directly into the hearts of those struggling. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." These words are more than just comforting, they are a bold promise of peace and relief for those who have endured years of hardship. For countless Iranians, this promise speaks to their deepest longing, a sense of freedom, rest, and solace in the face of an oppressive system. In a nation where daily life is marked by oppression and struggle, Christianity is becoming far more than just a religion. For many, it is a lifeline, a source of hope, and a path to liberation that offers exactly what they have been searching for. For many Iranians, converting to Christianity is more than a spiritual decision, it's a profound symbol of personal freedom. In a country where religion and politics are tightly intertwined, choosing Jesus is like finding a breath of fresh air in an oppressive system. It's not just about belief, it's a deeply personal act of rebellion against a regime that has tied its authority to strict interpretations of Islam. By turning to Christianity, individuals are making a bold statement: "I reject the system that has failed me." For decades, Iranians have endured widespread poverty, rampant government corruption, and one of the highest rates of drug addiction in the world. These harsh realities have shattered the promises of justice and dignity offered by the Islamic theocracy. In contrast, Christianity offers something entirely different. Its core messages of love, forgiveness, and hope provide a stark and comforting alternative to the harshness of daily life. The idea of a personal relationship with God, one built on compassion rather than control, feels deeply human and accessible. It has drawn thousands to a faith that seems to restore what the regime has taken away: dignity, meaning, and hope. Unsurprisingly, this growing movement hasn't gone unnoticed by the Iranian government. The regime sees the rise of Christianity not only as a challenge to its religious authority, but also as a threat to its entire political structure. In response, they have cracked down hard. Underground churches are raided, converts are arrested, and public expressions of faith are closely monitored. The fear is evident. If people find hope and meaning outside of the state's version of Islam, it could erode the regime's control. Yet, despite the risks, the movement continues to gain momentum. Through digital platforms and secret gatherings, many Christians in Iran find ways to practice their faith and support one another. Even in the face of persecution, the message of hope and freedom that Christianity offers has become a lifeline for those searching for a better way forward. It's a quiet but determined revolution, one that thrives despite the government's relentless efforts to crush it. Across Iran, new Christian converts share the profound changes in their lives with trusted friends and family, carefully navigating the dangers that come with their newfound faith. Hidden house churches and discreet Bible study groups have become sanctuaries for spiritual seekers, offering moments of refuge even as they remain under constant threat. These gatherings, typically small and unassuming, take place in modest apartments or inconspicuous homes. With the door locked and everyone accounted for, a sense of relief washes over the group as they embrace the fleeting safety of their community. Yet, this fragile peace is often shattered by the sudden and brutal raids of authorities, executed with the precision of a military operation. Leaders of these underground networks, viewed as the backbone of the movement, are often singled out for the harshest punishments. Arrested without warning, they are subjected to solitary confinement, torture, and relentless psychological pressure in facilities designed to break their spirit. The regime's intent is unambiguous: to force believers to renounce their faith and return to Islam. Detainees face vague and unjust charges, such as acting against national security, enduring harsh conditions, isolation from their families, and denial of legal representation. Even after serving their sentences, their ordeal is far from over. Constant surveillance and monitoring follow them as the government seeks to maintain its grip on those it considers a threat. Yet, despite the risks, more and more Iranians are drawn to the teachings of Jesus. His message of love, hope, and liberation resonates deeply with those yearning for freedom from the oppression, corruption, and injustice that define their daily lives. The regime's fear-driven tactics aim to stifle this growing spiritual movement, but the numbers tell a different story, one of resilience, faith, and a quiet revolution that refuses to be silenced. Christianity is quietly gaining ground in Iran, a movement that deeply resonates with the words of Jesus in Matthew 10:22, "You will be hated by everyone because of me, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved." These words hold profound significance for Iranian Christians who, despite unimaginable persecution, remain unwavering in their faith. Their courage and resilience shine as they face constant threats of violence, imprisonment, and worse. Interestingly, while the Iranian government cracks down on this growing movement with harsh repression, some friends and family of converts show a surprising level of understanding. Todd Nettleton of The Voice of the Martyrs highlights this perspective shift. If you've discovered something that works for you, whether it's Jesus, atheism, or anything else, that's great. I just know Islam doesn't work, so I'm glad you found something else that does. This quiet acceptance underscores the growing disillusionment with the promises of theocratic Islam. Iran's spiritual awakening is part of a broader trend across the Muslim world. Don Chen, executive director of the Tide Ministry, points out that Iran represents just the tip of the iceberg. Similar movements toward Christ are unfolding across other Islamic nations. While the Iranian government fights to maintain control, this wave of conversions reflects a deeper, irreversible shift driven by a longing for freedom, truth, and hope. Remarkably, reports from the Tide Ministry reveal a unique phenomenon fueling this spiritual transformation. Many Muslims are experiencing dreams and visions of Jesus. These encounters often serve as catalysts for profound spiritual journeys, helping individuals overcome deeply ingrained cultural and religious barriers. While not all such experiences lead directly to conversion, they frequently open doors to exploring Christianity and building meaningful connections with Christian believers. This grassroots spiritual movement, though small and often invisible, is a powerful testament to the resilience of faith under persecution and a sign of a deeper cultural and spiritual transformation spreading across the Islamic world. Shank, a representative of the Tide Ministry, sheds light on the profound impact of dreams and visions on Muslims, particularly in Iran. These encounters often lead individuals to say, "I now realize how much God loves me." I've always believed that he desires to punish me. In Islamic culture, dreams are frequently seen as divine communication, making such experiences deeply meaningful. For Muslims who dream of Jesus, these visions convey a message of compassion, love, and guidance that contrasts sharply with previous perceptions of God as punitive. These transformative experiences often leave individuals questioning their beliefs and seeking answers in the teachings of Jesus, sparking a spiritual awakening. This phenomenon is most frequently reported in Iran, but its ripple effects extend across the Muslim world. Schenck notes that what is happening in Iran reflects a broader movement, with similar stories emerging in countries like Afghanistan and Yemen. In Afghanistan, secretive Christians face immense risks, practicing their faith under the constant threat of Taliban persecution. The fear of exposure creates an atmosphere of distrust as believers navigate the ever-present danger of infiltration. Schenck emphasizes the gravity of the situation. Accepting Christ comes with a very real threat of death. Yet, feedback from Afghanistan reveals a growing number of people embracing Christianity, drawn by the promise of a deeply personal and redemptive relationship with God. Yemen offers another compelling example of this movement. Studies suggest Christianity is spreading there at nearly twice the global rate, despite the significant dangers involved. This quiet revolution, driven by dreams, visions, and a longing for hope, reflects a transformative spiritual shift across regions long dominated by Islamic theocracy. For many, the message of Jesus provides the love and redemption they've sought in the face of oppression, fear, and uncertainty.